presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Fox Sports. We are Sun.
The Rays got back on the winning track yesterday, thanks to the power of Brad Miller and Logan Morrison, while Matt Moore and the Rays bullpen took care of things on the mound as Tampa Bay celebrated the 4-2 win. Tonight, righty Jake Odorizzi goes to the hill in Game 2 versus Albert Pujols and the Angels. Tonight we welcome you to Tropicana Field as this series between the Rays and the Los Angeles Angels continues. This is the longest homestand of the year, and following yesterday's victory, the Rays stand 3-5 on this stand. Hi again, everyone. Welcome to an evening of Rays baseball with Brian Anderson, Dwayne Stats. Well, the Rays won it yesterday, partly on the strength of the home run. A couple of home runs for the Rays in that 4-2 victory. You know, Brad Miller, in his 2+ years with Seattle, known really as sort of a second-half hitter, a guy who put his big numbers up in the second half of the year. He might have started early this year for the Rays.
Yeah, and how often do we talk about the fact that Brad Miller hits the ball as hard as anybody on this Rays team? And if you go back over the last couple of weeks, those hard-hit baseballs are translating into balls over the fence. 7 home runs since June the 11th. That's over 21 games, averaging a home run every 3 games, but none more impressive than the home run that he hit right here. That ball up and away. He gets out around it deep into right center. You have to have some serious juice to do that.
Unfortunately, over the past month plus, the disabled list has played a big part in what the Rays have been able to accomplish. The good news is Alex Colomé comes off the disabled list today. Todd Kalas has more on that.
the Angels, game 2 of this 4-game series. It will be Jake Odorizzi against Tim Lincecum tonight. For the Rays, last 19 games, bullpen overall has an ERA of just under 9. And in those last 16 games, the Rays are 3-13. When Alex Colomé went on the disabled list, the Rays were 4 games under 500. They are now 14 games under 500, and the bullpen has been problematic. As you can see in our Toyota Keys to success, Colomé not only is 19 for 19 in save opportunities, he is not allowed a run during that stretch. Opponents hitting just 152 against him with 10 hits in those 19 save opportunities. For Kevin Cash, it was a great relief to get Colomé back beginning tonight.
Very excited. I'm glad the way it worked out that we caught the injury. He was pretty upfront saying that he didn't feel right. We were able to avoid him for a little bit. Then it kind of made the most sense to go on the DL. But he's right back here when his time was up. He threw a bullpen. He felt really good. He felt good the next day after. So we'll put him right in the ball game here, hopefully tonight.
That would be the plan if the Rays are to try and get back-to-back wins against the Angels, is use Alex Colomé in the 9th inning after Ryan Garten was able to save last night's 4-2 win. Well, the first pitch between the Rays and the Angels in about 3 minutes and 42 seconds. Enjoy all the action coming up next.
Jake Odorizzi goes to the mound, making his 18th start of the year tonight, and he will square off against the Los Angeles Angels, who will be without Mike Trout in their lineup. The Angels say, don't worry, don't get excited. He just has the day off, and he has just been selected for the 5th time in his career to the All-Star team, representing the Angels on the American League squad, and not in the lineup tonight. Let's take a look at that lineup presented by your Southern Ford dealers. Yunel Escobar is going to lead off, followed by Cole Calhoun, and then Albert Pujols, the DH. C.J. Cron in there at first base. Daniel Nava in left. Johnny Giavotella at second. It's 6th in front of Andrelton Simmons, the shortstop. Carlos Perez The catcher hits eighth, and Shane Robinson, the number 9 hitter, in center field.
And Jake Odorizzi just wants to be recognized. That's all. That's all. He's making his 18th start of the season. He has 6 decisions. I mean, leading the way in that category. Hasn't had a decision since June the 8th. That was against the Arizona Diamondbacks, and that was a win. He'd like to duplicate that here tonight.
So he goes to work against the Angels. Lifetime 0-2 in 3 starts against them. And here's Escobar leading it off. Swinging through the opening fastball. We are underway. Strike 1. Game starting right on time at 10 minutes past the hour. Escobar lines it into right. Arcia right there for it, 1 away.
Arcia well placed out there in right field. Let's look at the rest of the Rays defense and see how it's going to line up. Brought to you by Gold and Diamond Source. And in the outfield left to right, we've got Nick Franklin, Steven Souza Jr., and of course Arcia. And across that infield third to first, the normal, the regulars, Longoria, Miller, Forsythe, and Morrison, with Hank Conger behind the plate.
Souza Jr. in center. It's Cole Calhoun. First pitch is a strike. That's a fastball.
Has a chance to be a fun night. Jake Odorizzi, a fly ball pitcher, and the Rays outfield of Franklin, Souza Jr., and Arcia, especially Souza Jr. in center.
Cut and a miss, 0-2. Calhoun not in the lineup last night for Mike Scioscia, and he's one of the reasons Dana Evelyn opened the 9th inning to pitch to Shane Robinson. Had he gone the other way with a right-hander, we probably would have seen Cole Calhoun. And so by sending the lefty out there, Kevin Cash kept Calhoun out of the game. And there's a cut and a miss. He's out on 3 pitches here. Fastball by him.
Yeah, that was a savvy move by Kevin Cash in bringing in Dana Evelyn. And by the way, Dana came in and made him look real good because he picked up a strikeout, and he did it the fewest pitches possible. 3 pitches, a punch out, and then off he would go, and Ryan Garten would finish up from there.
Garten picking up his first major league save. Albert Pujols takes a strike. Pujols working on a 10-game hitting streak. It's popped up left side, and Miller's out there waiting from short. 1, 2, 3. Go the Angels. So Odorizzi has a very quick first inning. First, no score. We'll take a look at the lineup put together by the Rays tonight. Presented by your Southern Ford dealers. Logan Forsythe to lead it off, followed by Brad Miller and Evan Longoria. Logan Morrison is at first. Steven Souza Jr. hits fifth in center field in front of Corey Dickerson. Nick Franklin bats seventh. The number 8 hitter is Waldo Arcia. And Conger bats ninth and does the catching.
Taking the mound tonight for the Los Angeles Angels is going to be right-hander Tim Lincecum, making his 4th start for the Angels. 1-2 record, ERA 6.75 as he settles back into a major league starting rotation. Has only known the San Francisco Giants throughout his career, and now with the Angels on the hill for the 4th time.
Pitch to Forsythe, and that's in there, a strike. 89-90 on the fastball. Strike one. Logan at 299 to start play tonight. It's 1-1. Lincecum making his 4th start. Let's that one go high. Up and in, 2-1.
Well, and for all of these hitters that have never faced Tim Lincecum, the first thing that you're going to have to adjust to is the delivery. One of the most unique you'll ever see.
Yeah, almost that windmill delivery and that giant step he takes.
He really spreads out. You're right. The stride is extremely long. That arm comes out of the glove and is way behind him.
Line drive, base hit into left. So Forsythe is aboard.
Let's take a look at the Angel defense and see how it's going to line up. Behind Lincecum, brought to you by Golden Diamond Source. And in the outfield left to right, we have Daniel Nava, Shane Robinson, and Cole Calhoun. And across the infield third to first, Yunel Escobar, Andrelton Simmons, Johnny Giavotella, and C.J. Cron, with Carlos Perez behind the dish.
Now Brad Miller. Want to know, it seems every time that Miller hits a home run, there's something special about it. The sound, number one. The distance, and we've gotten used to that distance. Turned one around yesterday. 1-1 the count.
Well, and doing his best work here in the last few weeks. We talked about it in the open. Last 21 games, 7 home runs for Brad Miller, setting the pace at his position in the American League.
12 home runs for Miller. Club record is 15. Cabrera hit 15 last year for the Rays at shortstop. Julio Lugo had a year when he hit 15. And Miller well on his way, it would seem, to surpassing that mark. Because as we mentioned, in Seattle, he always finished strong up there the last couple months of the year. If he does that this year, he's going to have a great power year. Out on strikes this time. Changeup got him.
Right there, there's your split. And I'll tell you what, Tim Lincecum loves that pitch. When he's ahead in the count, when there are 2 strikes, you will see that pitch a ton, so get used to it.
Yeah, and if you separate the fastball out, 4-seam, 2-seam, he'll throw more changeups than either one of those pitches. Longoria takes a pitch down. Evan at 278 with 18 home runs. Ground ball toward the middle. Gonna get through. Base hit into center. Forsythe makes a turn. Now throw back to second. And he gets back in there. Had ideas about going to third base, and Robinson came up with that ball in short center.
Yeah, Andrelton Simmons, one of the best you're going to find at shortstop. And look at him ranging to his left, and he was not happy with himself. And that's what you're talking about, Dwayne. Logan Forsythe, a little aggressive right here. Put the brakes on and get back, and he does that just in time.
So men at first and second for Logan Morrison with 1 out in the first. Morrison hit 1 out yesterday, hitting .237 on the year. Takes the ball. Here's the home run to lead off the bottom of the fourth yesterday.
Yeah, 2 impressive home runs. You know, pitches that were away, that was off speed and away, and he yanks it into right field. Brad Miller was up and away. He goes that deep out to right center. It's a difference.
Hot shot. That ball, oh, just foul. Ben May on the call, and he didn't miss an extra base hit by much right there.
He didn't miss Ben May by much right there. Oh boy, that is so close. You saw that ball hit in fair territory.
Ben May has skipped rope before. A nice move. Two and one the count. Conference on the mound. Perez out there talking with Lincecum. Back-to-back Cy Young awards for Lincecum in 08 and 09. He's in the company of pitchers like Clayton Kershaw, Randy Johnson, Greg Maddux, Sandy Koufax did that. Pretty good company right there.
Say, is that good?
Two and two now. Souza Jr. on deck. The other way. Yeah, there's the Toyota inside look on Tim Lincecum, drafted by the Giants. 3 World Series titles, 2 Cy Young awards, 4-time All-Star, a couple of no-hitters for good measure. And now 32 years old. All of that with the Giants, now with the Angels. And he misses up. Count is full. He has been making a lot of pitches. When he was right, he was around 16 pitches, maybe a little over per inning. And with the Angels, he's been averaging better than 21 pitches an inning. He's at 18 right now. Ground ball picked by Giavotella, out at second and safe at first. Forsythe goes to third. Longoria forced at second.
Everything took just a little bit too long there. Giavotella moving to his left. That makes his throw a little bit longer, and he can't even step into it. And then Simmons has to come off without being able to really step into his throw. And Logan Morrison is able to just get there.
First and third with 2 down. Steven Souza Jr. up in the 5th spot in the order. And Perez in front of the plate there, with, relaying some info from the dugout there on alignment. Steven Souza Jr. Foul ball, strike 1. That puts him down 0-2. Ground ball. Andrelton Simmons from deep short. Low throw gets away. Skipping in. The run scores. Morrison goes to third. And the Rays take the lead.
How about that? The hustle of Logan Morrison extends the inning. This looked like it was going to end it. And Simmons right here taking a little bit too long getting rid of this. And then he has to hump up on the throw. It's hard, it's low, it's tough to handle. I'll tell you, you get a team that's been struggling like the Angels and the way they've been struggling, and that becomes typical.
So the Rays grab the lead. Still first and third for Corey Dickerson. Pitch is down. So they call it a hit and an error, allowing Morrison to move to third base. So there will be an error on that play, but a hit as well.
It's nice to play at home.
Hey, if you don't get it at home, a call like that, probably not going to get it. Two ball, no strike count. There goes the runner off first. Throw down is not in time. Stolen base by Souza. His fourth of the year.
Off and going, and Steven Souza gets up to a full head of steam. I'll tell you what, though, nice job there by Simmons to be able to corral this throw from Perez. Remember Logan Morrison down there at first base, and he's got some traffic sliding in there. Makes a nice save there on a throw that bounced.
So here with a 3-0 count, Dickerson is turned loose and misses strike one. Second and third now for Souza. His fourth steal in 6 attempts. Now a full count. He's facing Tim Lincecum, University of Washington. Up the left side, foul. It's beyond the bullpen bench. See another 3-2 pitch made to Dickerson. Swing and a miss. He got him up. Chased it. Rays settled for a run and lead 1-0. Very quick first inning. Just 7 pitches, goes to the mound to work the second. American League All-Star starters have been announced. We mentioned Trout was named in center field. Bradley Jr. and Betts on the left and right of him. Machado, Bogarts, Altuve, and Hosmer on the infield. First pitch in here to C.J. Cron. Perez will catch, and Ortiz, the DH.
I'll tell you what.
Long one back into center. Well struck. Souza Jr. to the wall and runs out of room. Gone. C.J. Cron hits his 10th home run of the year on a 1-0 pitch to tie the game.
Steven Souza Jr. very, very angry at the center field wall. I mean, he followed it, tracked it back there, and ran into that thing hard.
Glad he hit where it has some give.
Yes, I didn't realize it till right there at the very end. Boy, you can do some damage. Catch a body part the wrong way.
Daniel Nava. That's a strike. Cron has been a hot hitter in that 21-2 game in Boston. He was one of the leading forces. He's been hitting up, pushing 370 for the last couple of weeks. 2 to Nava. And so Cron now 6 of 14. We talk about this place being a tough place to hit, but he is 6 of 14 lifetime here at the Trop.
Against some pretty good pitching.
That's
on top
exactly
of.
right. Nava singles against the shift. Just stroked it into left.
Yeah, and Dwayne, that is taking advantage of the shift and pitch location. Daniel Nava did that by design. He took a pitch down and away, and he just very smoothly slapped that ball the other way, and that's exactly what you should do.
You know, we haven't tabulated anything, but just watching, it seems to me that more and more hitters are doing exactly this against the shift.
And why not? If you're not a 40 home run guy, then take your hits. Take your hits. If they're handing you a single, take it.
Johnny Giavotella. That's a strike. Well, if you think about it, if you line up in the traditional way and then you move out of that to a shift, the hole on the left side is so much bigger than you would normally be trying to hit a ball through with a normal alignment. So if you're capable of hitting the ball the other way like Nava just did, it's just common sense that you would do that. There's a base hit through the right side. Arcia up with it on a hop. Nava advances to second. Giavotella is aboard.
Giavotella has been swinging the bat well for the Angels, and he got a ball right here, a little cutter that stays up, and that makes it easier. He just lengthened the swing out there. Again, the ball's away, take it the other way.
And given the kind of hitter he is, that's a tailor-made pitch for him to do exactly that. Now it's Andrelton Simmons, 2 on, nobody out. Stopped there by Hank Conger. No ball, no strikes. Simmons at 251 now. He's hit in 6 consecutive games. Foul back, and he's starting to get a little hot at the plate. His average a week and a half ago was down around 200, and now it's over 250.
Well, he looks more aggressive. You see the numbers during the hit streak, 4 doubles, he's driven in 3, but the swing, he looks like he's not feeling for the baseball, but actually taking a hack. I mean, a mean swing, trying to do some damage. As he bunts.
Bunts foul. Well, he did some damage to the right hand of Hank Conger that time. Conger stretching it out, trying to shake that off.
It's about every other night these catchers see that hand doesn't get out of the way, and that little foul tip right off of that hand.
So the Rays take a little time on the mound. Gives Conger a little time to recuperate.
Oh no.
1-2 the count on Simmons.
Oh no.
Game tied on the leadoff homer by Crone.
Hey guys, let's go.
Into the dirt. Blocked again by Conger. 2-2.
There you go, Hank.
The Rays could use a ground ball right here.
There was a time where Jake Odorizzi couldn't get a ground ball double play to save his life.
But he's managed to do that with a greater frequency lately.
You're right. I mean, he already has 9 this season. He could be a fly ball pitcher, but when you can go get that ground ball when you need it, that's huge.
There is a ground ball, but it's going to go through the left side. Nava's going to be waved home. Franklin overruns the ball. Now the other runners will move up. It's 2-1 Los Angeles. Giovatello goes to third and Simmons up to second as Franklin overruns the ball out there. So it'll be a single, a run batted in, and an error charged to Franklin.
Yeah, he's coming in hard too, Dwayne. He's looking to make a play right there. And that's what you do. You're coming in aggressively. You're getting the glove down, trying to come up scooping, ready to throw, and just never gets it into the glove. Off the tip. And just that little error right there allows a move up of 2 base runners. So now instead of first and second with that double play still in order, now it's second and third. Still nobody out.
Carlos Perez takes the ball. Perez also had a big game in that 21-2 contest won by the Angels in Boston. Fly ball short center. Forsythe out. Here comes Souza Jr. Runners are going to hold. Throw cut off at the mound by Morrison. Souza Jr. a full head of steam coming in. So the Rays finally logged the first out in the Angels' second inning.
Center fielder, number 17, Shane Robinson.
Shane Robinson will be up. Robinson hitting .210. He was at Salt Lake until May. Into the dirt. And again blocked by Conger. Foul back. Robinson logged some big league time with the Minnesota Twins earlier. 250 for them a year ago. And back home playing here against the Rays for the Angels. Ground ball right side. Glove by Forsythe. What a play to get the out. The run is going to score. Giovatello crosses the plate. Simmons goes to third. Forsythe ranging far to his left to make that play and get Robinson.
Yeah, Shane Robinson looking to find a hole there on the right side, and A very nice play by Logan Forsythe. The run does score, but that gets past him. Maybe another run scores on this hit, and you still got a base runner with just one out. So now you've got a chance with that play being made that Jake Odorizzi can retire Yunel Escobar here and get out of this inning.
Escobar lined out to Arcia in right his first time. Pitch off the plate. 1 ball, no strike count. Into the dirt. 2-0. Well, for Odorizzi, the first couple innings have been an issue this year. He got through the first inning on 7 pitches, touched for 3 runs here in the second. His earned run average in the second inning of games this year is .582, and another run will score on that base hit to right by Escobar. It's a 4-run inning. 4-1 the Angels. Escobar picking up his 23rd run batted in.
How many of the hits have gone the other way? C.J. Cron, right center field, but to the right side. Daniel Nava against the shift. Giavotella went the other way. Escobar goes the other way. You know, you got a pitcher out there in Jake Odorizzi who is staying away, and so these Angel hitters are fine with the idea of hitting the ball the other way, not trying to pull those pitches. That's where you get into trouble.
It's a 5-hit inning, producing 4 runs. The 8th man to bat in this inning is Cole Calhoun. That's a fly ball left field. Franklin coming on, makes the catch, and that'll do it. But a big inning for the Angels. They score 4 to take a 4-1 lead. The bottom of the second inning. Let's take a look at the National League All-Star starters, and the Chicago Cubs with the best record in baseball, dominating the entire infield. Bryant, Russell, Zobrist, and Rizzo. So they got the infield covered. Nick Franklin takes the pitch up. 1 ball, no strikes. And then Fowler's in right, Harper center, Cespedes in left. Buster Posey behind the plate. On attempt is fouled by Franklin. So we have both starting lineups posted now for the All-Star game to be in San Diego. And we'll wait a little longer to see who the Rays will place on the All-Star team. Two and one the count. Franklin, Arcia, and Conger. Ground ball foul, 2-2. Ryan Anderson in consultation with the powers that be to determine the Rays pick. And he's being very circumspect about that.
It's not the time.
But we'll know soon. Oh, a shot through the middle. Base hit by Franklin. Well, the Rays hit the ball hard as well. Franklin aboard to start the bottom of the second.
Well, you're going to have to. This Angel team broke out in a big way here in the top half. And so in the bottom, Nick Franklin gets it started, goes right back up the middle. Another place where a lot of hits are laying around. Get that leadoff man aboard and go right back to work.
Well, in Lincecum's last two outings, he has been very hittable against Oakland and Houston. 3 innings, 7 hits, and 4 runs against Oakland. Last time out against the Astros, 4 1/3, 7 hits, and 5 runs. The Rays going to need at least 5 tonight, down 4-1. A ball, no strikes, the count to Oswaldo Arcia. Fastball up. 2-0. Rays got a run, 3 hits in the first, left a couple men, both in scoring position. Strike on the corner. 2-1. What do you think about it, VA? A quick return, it would seem, for Lincecum after having that arthroscopic procedure done on his hip and back pitching competitively really before the midway point to the following season.
There's no question about it. By the way, watch his delivery for a couple of pitches. He asks an awful lot of those hips.
Yep.
I mean,
that stride has a lot to do with it.
Yep. And you remember when he was getting hot early in his career, people started to follow him, write stories about him, and you read about that stride, how much longer of a stride it was for a pitcher his height than the average. I mean, it's significantly longer. And so,
look out, a shot foul up the right side. Out of play. Well, we have word on the Rays All-Star. And here we go. Alex Colomé just activated from the DL today and perfect in the save situation. 19 saves, and Alex Colomé will be a member of the American League All-Star team.
You got to say well-deserved. There's no question about it. And you just look at those numbers in save situations, and that's what jumps out at you. When the game is on the line, 1-2 run lead, you got to get 3 outs. He doesn't give up a thing. He's yet to give up a run in those situations. The opponent's average 150. He's given up 10 hits in 19 save opportunities.
You know, it's a great story. It tells you what opportunity can do for you. He's not supposed to be the closer this year. Brad Boxberger goes down with injury, and Colomé steps right in, seizes an opportunity, and boy, you talk about making the most of it. That's exactly what he has done.
He's also a student of the game, Dwayne, and he realizes in the Rays organization, you have to have a different guy lead the team in saves every single year. You can't have back-to-back years of Boxberger leading the way, so it had to be Colomé.
Well, that's the trend. No question about that.
It's pretty amazing, really, when you look back over the last decade, really. The number of guys that have closed and led the team in saves on a year-to-year basis. Was there been one guy that did it twice? Maybe? I don't know. I know it's not many.
There's Boxberger. I mean, just, you know, a record-breaking pace last year. And now stepping right in is Colomé. 2-2 the count on Conger. It will be interesting when the Rays can empty that disabled list and get these guys back. Colomé just off today. Alex Cobb starting the process with a rehab performance coming in the next couple days. Conger pops it up foul. And Kevin Kiermaier is talking about trying to get back shortly after the All-Star break. How about that?
Yeah, that's sped up quite a bit.
It is. We've always heard and talked about August. He thinks it'll be before that.
Well, let's hope that he is right. One thing that you do know is we talk all the time about the Rays, the training staff. They're very cautious. So when he is turned loose, if it is indeed in the middle of July, then trust me, he's ready to go.
Yep. Well, another strikeout for Lincecum. That one on the changeup. So he's used the changeup to split on both Arcia and Conger after the base hit by Franklin. Well, it'd be great to get him back, not only for what he gives to the team in terms of the bon vivant, the spirit of this team, esprit de corps, but what he gives in center field to help the pitching staff. I mean, you talk about covering ground, and it, from the very get-go, regardless of who's in center, you can take a guy and do a good job in center, and it's noticeable when Kiermaier is no longer out there.
I'm just having a hard time wrapping my mind around your language up here in the booth this inning. Those big four words you're using, phrases, some sort.
You know exactly what's going on at all times. Force play at second. Escobar to Giovatelli. Rays leave a man at the end, up 2-4-1 Los Angeles.
The American League and National League All-Star rosters have been named for this year, and Alex Colomé, who became a closer this year for the first time in his career, is now an All-Star. Here was his reaction.
Thank you. I want to say, feel really excited. I've been thinking about being the All-Star game, but God is with us every time. When they say to me, like, you're going to the All-Star game, I be like happy, say thank you, and feel really good.
Have you had a chance to talk to family about this yet?
Not yet. Not yet. I don't say nothing yet, but I really want to say thank you to the Rays, the coaches, like Stan, Hickey. They helped me a lot, to be good. And you see.
Have you been to San Diego?
No, never been there.
And when you found out, who told you?
Cash. Yeah, he told me, like, you're going, congratulations, you're going to the All-Star game. And they say, wow, like silence. At least they say thank you.
Guys, he was somebody who not only embraced or didn't just have a problem with going from the rotation to the bullpen. He embraced it. He said, yeah, I want to be in that bullpen. I'm going to do the best job I can in that bullpen. And now this year, he is an All-Star. One other thing about Alex Colomé is he looked at Kevin Cash, who was very proud of his closer. Doing interviews this year for the first time all in English. So glad to hear him speak to us about his feelings. And he's got that intense stare on the mound, but you could tell there's a great deal of pride in being named an All-Star today, guys.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about that, Todd. And what a great moment that was. He was gracious and grateful. earned it. I mean, absolutely deserving of going there. And you can't help but be excited for him. And particularly the way he handled it. I thought that was really classy, what Alex Colomé had to say there, and you know that's heartfelt.
No question. And you're right, deserving for what he's done on the field, you know, thrown into that role and has performed. We've already documented that, but yeah, that interview, I could listen to that again and again because he absolutely so appreciative and thankful and you know and putting himself out there. His second language, that's not real easy to do, and you know even to be able to go out and say no, forget any translator. George Pappas, you can sit this one out. I got it, and yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah, and George has worked hard at translating. He needs a little time off. Take an interview off, and Colomé, nice job.
I thought for a moment there he was going to have to maybe translate for Todd in asking the questions.
Well, Todd, again, you know, he establishes a rapport with all of his subjects. He has just a natural ability to do that.
It's a chameleon.
Yes, he is. Well, Crone has walked. Daniel Nava takes a strike. Fouls that one. Deflection of Conger. Odorizzi, 1, 2, 3 in the first, faced 8 men in the second, touched 4 runs, all of which were earned. With a home run, 6 runs batted in. And is out on strikes. He went after a pitch up and could not get up there. Rest of the American League, the all-star pitchers top to bottom. The Orioles placed 2, Brock and Britton. Kimbrel and Wright from the Red Sox. Chris Sale for the White Sox. Danny Salazar. Will Harris, who's closing in Houston. Wade Davis, who's now on the DL for Kansas City, leads the list of Kansas City Royals pitchers. Kelvin Herrera and Dylan Betances and Andrew Miller. Alex Colomé, and from Texas, Cole Hamels and Marco Estrada from the Blue Jays.
And you know what you like about that pitching staff right there? If the American League can somehow build a lead over the first 3 innings, then you just turn it over to the back end of their bullpen for 1. You talk about shortening a game. I mean, look at those guys that they had on that list.
Yeah, you want to shorten it to 3 innings.
I mean, you had Brock and Britton, the guys that we see on top of Betances and Miller and Colomé. There you go.
Well, there you go. Stephen Votes made the All-Star team from the A's. Congratulations to the former Ray, Matt Wieters, Miguel Cabrera, Cano, Donaldson, Lindor, Nunez from Minnesota. Who swung the bat well. Ground ball third. Longoria across the diamond to first to get Gio Vitella. A walk and a man left. We go to the bottom of the third. 4-1. Of the third inning, Brad Miller is going to lead it off for the Rays. More All-Star info. The All-Star final vote will involve Evan Longoria along with Ian Kinsler, Justin Pedroia, Michael Saunders, and George Springer. Fans determine that final roster spot. Voting at MLB.com will end the 8th of July at 4 p.m. Eastern for the 2016 All-Star Game on Fox from San Diego, July 12th. So Evan Longoria, part of the All-Star final vote, will be hitting second in this inning. Miller, Longoria, and Morrison against Tim Lincecum. Working out there with a 3-run lead right now. 1-1. Lincecum pitched against the Rays here once. That was back in August of 2013 with the Giants. Gave up a run in 7 innings. 2-1 the count. Slider was up. Miller liked that location, took a pretty good cut and fouled it back.
Yeah, that's one of those pitches where as it leaves the pitcher's hand, you're thinking Brad Miller is going to destroy this thing. And you foul it off, and as a hitter, you're just hoping to get another shot, to get another pitch like that to swing at.
Chopper right side. Lincecum will have to cover there to take the toss from Chrome. And that's the first out. Well, Evan Longoria not yet on the All-Star team. He's going to need your help as he's been named to the final vote as a candidate for the All-Star game. And here's your chance to vote him in. Go to RaysBaseball.com/vote and vote as often as possible for Evan Longoria before Friday at 4 p.m. When you vote, you'll receive a ticket special, and all fans who vote at least 25 times will be entered for a chance to meet Evan. So go to RaysBaseball.com/vote now. Pitch is a strike to Longoria. When you look at his numbers, you can make a solid case. He's hitting .280 right now. 18 home runs and 45 runs batted in. And playing his usual great third base. Slugging percentage over .520.
And Dwayne, that team, we went through a lot of names there, but the only 2 other third basemen on that team, Machado, of course, was voted in, and then Josh Donaldson on that list for another.
And 2-2 count. Runs, 5 hits for the Angels here early. The Rays a run, 4 hits. Lincecum 5'11", 170 pounds. Lincecum. Chopped down to third. Escobar's throws right on the money, 2 gone. They say Lincecum, when he started high school, was 4'11" and weighed 85 pounds, and wound up starring on their baseball team, and then went to the University of Washington. And after his senior year in high school, he was 5'9" and weighed 135 pounds. 5'11" now, 170. How about those numbers?
I'm having a hard time with the high school numbers.
There's a shot off the bat, and Morrison, a long one and gone. Right center field. Morrison hits his 10th home run of the year, and that will make it 4-2.
That was the breaking ball, Dwayne, that Brad Miller saw, that he wanted another crack at. Just kind of stayed flat. It's working its way across the plate right into the swing of Morrison, not doing a whole lot, and it just stays middle, and he gets down and through it with authority.
Gave it a good ride to right center field. A homer yesterday and a homer today. Steven Souza Jr. takes ball one. It's 113 home runs for the Rays this year. Ooh, Souza tried to make it another one. 1-1.
He dropped down to one, the Adrian Beltre style right there. That was a changeup that didn't have a lot of finish in Souza Jr.
Two and one. You're hard to digest those numbers.
Yeah, no, I mean the high school numbers. You could actually put him in the backpack that you're carrying to school.
Oh, look out! That ball gets between the two of them. Souza's headed to third already. Calhoun recovers and throws it back to the infield and all the way to third base. Steven Souza Jr.
And ask yourself, Dwayne, what is more disturbing about this play? The fact that this ball falls in between two outfielders, or the lack of interest in going after it? No communication, nobody taking charge of that play at all.
Normally, if your center fielder's there, you want him to go ahead and take it.
Yeah.
And he backs out.
Completely backed out. But did you see anybody's mouth moving?
Nope.
I mean, there was just no control take. You know, you get Mike Trout, you take him out of the game, you give him a day off, and this is unfortunately the byproduct.
Corey Dickerson. Dickerson got up in the count his first time, then went 3-2 and chased a pitch up out of the zone. Here he is, up 3-0 again. Three balls and a strike. So Souza's at third. He gets a triple out of that. A little tapper. That could be a tough play. Throw to first, not in time. The run scores. Now it's 4-3. It'll be a run batted in and a base hit, an infield hit for Dickerson.
Boy, how about this turn of events? This inning should have been over. Boy, right off the end of the bat. There's just no play to be made here. Lincecum gives it a game effort, but he was not going to get Dickerson. Boy, look at him hustling, trying to beat this out. And he certainly does.
That's one thing Dickerson does all the time, right out of the batter's box. That's a great effort and a good pace down the first baseline. Now he's headed to second, swing and a miss, and he's going to run into an out right there. Caught stealing. Simmons puts the tag on him. Rays get a run on the home run and a run on the misplay in center that went for a triple and Dickerson's infield hit. At the end of 3, the Rays put a couple up in the bottom of the 3rd. One on the Logan Morrison home run. So we go to the 4th, and Brandon Geyer has taken over in center field. Souza Jr. starting out there. And so we'll await word to get an update on that. That's doesn't sound good on its face. Ground ball. Miller handles this one, a high throw, but Morrison keeps his foot on the bag. And Simmons, Andrelton Simmons, is the first out on 1 pitch.
Number 58, Carlos Perez.
Carlos Perez, the catcher. Strike 1. The right side foul, and that's headed to play. 0-2. A 2-strike count on the Angels catcher. Ball 2 strikes. Rizzi and Lincecum the matchup. Rays winners yesterday 4-2. Angels had some opportunities yesterday. They left 9 men in scoring position. 3 of 12 with men in scoring position. They left 11 men on in the game. Foul right back into the screen. Still a ball, 2 strikes. You can see Odorizzi up with all those pitches. Shane Robinson on deck. Perez getting time granted by Ed Hickox. Down the left field line, it's going to be foul. Went through a curveball. Perez connected, but fortunately for the Rays and Odorizzi, he was out in front. That curveball about 73 miles per hour, and good fortune for that young man. And we see Souza Jr. walking down the dugout for the Rays. One hop to short. Miller makes this play. 2 up, 2 down. Let's check in with Todd Callis for an update. Todd, what do you have?
Well, Dwayne, we just got word down from the Rays clubhouse. Steven Souza Jr. was taken out of the game, and there was no injury involved tonight. So we'll hear from Kevin Cash after the game as to the reason. That ball that was in the outfield that was misplayed by the Angels, Souza was barely at first base when that ball was dropped, and there you see him go from there. So again, that's speculation, but he is not taken out of the game due to injury. Guys, back to you.
Yeah, well, that's a good observation, and if that's the case, so be it. Very good observation there. Strike on the outside part of the plate. 0-2. Good news out of that is no injury, and so as Todd pointed out, we'll hear Kevin Cash on the post game. Rays Live, the post game presented by Checkers. 1-2. Upstairs. Back into the screen. Another foul ball right back into the screen off the Odorizzi fastball. Robinson. 2-2 and a line drive right back at him. Got the glove down there to make the catch. 1-2-3. We go to the bottom of the fourth. 4-3 Angels. Sun is brought to you by Dodge. Visit your local Dodge dealer today. By Furman, the Bay Area's first name in Chevrolet. By your local Toyota dealers, let's go places. And by Tampa Bay Radiation Oncology. When cancer strikes, strike back with CyberKnife. Beautiful sunset over the Gulf. We go to the bottom of the fourth. Nick Franklin will lead off here against Tim Lincecum. It's down and in. Rays have 3 runs, 7 hits off Lincecum through the first 3. Just over 70 pitches. He gets a strike there on a pitch away. 1-1. There's a base hit to the right side. Nick Franklin is 2 for 2.
You see Nick Franklin be able to sit back and wait on that split. The Rays well aware that they're seeing that pitch early and often. There's another one here, but look how he stays back. Stay back, and then rip that thing over into the hole and get a base hit. A nice adjustment made there by Nick Franklin. We'll see if the rest of the Rays lineup can do the same.
Oswaldo Arcia struck out on a changeup his first time. Takes a high fastball. Ball and a strike. Found that fastball that was away. down. He started to go. Check the pitch. Blocked there by Perez. Before his season ended abruptly last year, Lincecum was 7-4 with the Giants, made 15 starts with a 4.13 ERA. And he has Garcia out in front, taking the count to 2-2. Just a little bit of that one, a foul. Hank Conger on deck. And to take low. Again, they split, full count. Out on strikes. Breaking ball got him.
Yeah, and then there's the corresponding adjustment made by Tim Lincecum, knowing that in these counts he's been going with the split. He switches it up there with great results against Arcia. Goes with the hook.
And right over it.
Yep. Spun that nice.
And Conger, this one bouncing away to the backstop. Down to second goes Franklin. So he bounced that one in for a wild pitch.
That ball just came loose. Not even sure what he was trying to throw there, but it wasn't that.
Inside. 2-0. And now ball loose. How about that? And an advance by Franklin.
I mean, the Angels have been so sloppy here tonight. Think about the Andrelton Simmons error, not actually called an error, called a hit, then an error. Now you throw the ball over the pitcher's head, the ball that drops into center field, and alertly, Nick Franklin, you know, paying attention. A lot of guys that get lazy right here, and he sees this ball go off, and he is immediately breaking to third base, and that's a big move up, less than 2 outs. That man right there has got to be steaming mad right now.
This is nothing close to the kind of baseball that Mike Socha has been involved in.
This isn't baseball that you pay to see. This is Kenston 9U.
And look at that. They've dropped 12 of 14. Now a little tap. And coming to the plate. Franklin is going to be out. Simmons made the play right there.
Did you see, Dwayne, how quickly he got rid of that ball? He's going up the middle, glove side. And watch him open spin and get rid of that ball right now. I'll tell you what, you have an earlier play in the game that didn't go so well, and you make up for it with a play like that. That was special. Boy, oh boy.
Cuts down the potential tying run at the plate, and that's why he has that hardware.
Yeah. I mean, one thing to get to it, but the catch and release was as quick as you're going to see.
You know, when you have veteran pitchers say he's the best shortstop they've ever seen, Mark Gubicza in the Angels TV booth, he's the best he's ever seen, no question at shortstop. That's high praise.
Yeah, I mean, how long's he been in the game? You know, playing the game, in the booth, watching the game.
Yep.
that says it all right there, really.
Three and 0. The Rays got Franklin to third, cut down at the plate. A great play by Simmons. And now a walk to Forsythe, and that pushes Conger up to second.
The shortstop, Brad Miller.
Charles Nagy heads out to the mound to chat with Lincecum here. Today only, $5 is the magic number today. Both the Bret Michaels postgame concert Saturday, July 16th, and the Hunter Hayes postgame concert will feature Bud and Bud Light 20-ounce drafts for only $5. Buy tickets today and you can save $5 off any seating location. And you can watch the concert from the field by purchasing a field access band for only $5. Today only at RaysBaseball.com/5.
A lot of savings going on right there.
That's right. Bret Michaels. High pop-up off the bat of Brad Miller, and it's going to be just out of play. One strike to count on Miller. 2 men on, 2 men out in the inning. Forsythe at first, Conger at second. Low. Perez came up ready to fire and then dropped the ball. Little tapper. Lincecum drops it, picks it up, and throws out at first. He just got him. It's been that kind of performance tonight, and he just got Miller after dropping that little comebacker. Rays do not score. They leave 2. Look at that. 4-3, Angels through 4. We move into the 5th inning. Greater coverage of baseball brought to you by T-Mobile. Cleveland Indians in first by 6.5 over Detroit. Designated Java Chamberlain for assignment yesterday. Corey Seager of the Dodgers, that young shortstop with a 17-game hitting streak. Dodgers trailing the Giants in the NL West by 5, but the Dodgers have won 5 in a row. Top of the order for the Angels. Escobar lifts a 1-0 pitch to center field. Brandon Guyer is there and makes the catch. 1 away.
Right fielder.
Cole Calhoun. Calhoun has struck out, hit a fly ball to left. Takes the count to 1-1.
Now, with everything that's going on in this game early on, some of the misplays, the runs starting to pile up, the one thing that we really haven't talked about, it's gone kind of unnoticed, is Jake Odorizzi and the pitch count. Got that thing pretty much well in order. Some efficient innings early on, even though he did give up some runs.
Well, since he gave up the RBI single to Escobar in the second, he's retired 8 out of 9, giving up just a walk to Crone in that stretch. And he's done it in short order. He had 21 pitches in the second. And that 7-pitch first really helped. But 14 in the third, 15 in the fourth. He has 1 out and a 1-2 count on Calhoun here in the 5th inning. And just a few pitches in here. 2-2 now to Calhoun. Oh, base hit. Fastball. And Calhoun sends it right back into center. Well, same 2 teams tomorrow. Night game tomorrow. We'll be with you at 6:30, and don't miss the Wednesday night showdown presented by Mazda when the Rays take on the Angels again, and it will be a Webb Wednesday tomorrow. Right there in the middle of the week.
Every week.
Webb Wednesday to get you through to Thursday, and then Friday, and then the weekend. Webb Wednesday always gives you something to look forward to.
Yeah,
to get you right through the middle.
That's me too. I'm looking forward to the 2 questions that we'll get.
Yeah, and I always like the way Todd sets them up.
There's a backstory that leads in every time.
He's got little index cards, and he writes down and then rewrites them.
Rehearses
sometimes over and over.
That's why he's good.
Yep. Pitch is down. 1-0. We throw it down to him, and he says, "I got questions." We go, "Let us have it," and he does. Frequently lets us have it. One and 0. There's a strike. Pujols has popped to short and a fly ball into center. A ball, 2 strikes. Pujols, good cut at the fastball and fouled it right back. C.J. Cron on deck. How about Pujols when he hit that ball in the 9th inning yesterday that struck Mike Estabrook? It deflected off Longoria's glove, and Pujols couldn't believe it.
Yeah, he was not happy. Cost him an RBI, cost him a chance to get into scoring position in what would have been a 1-run game.
Saw Conger hold that one out there, but just a little bit off that time. 2-2. Do it again. Strikes him out. He got him right there on the split. Pujols out on strikes. 2 gone.
There's the split, and there is the split with some late action, and that's what you're looking for from that pitch in Jake Odorizzi. That ball that stays in the zone for a long time and then starts to bottom out after a hitter's committed.
When he's throwing that pitch repeatedly, that's when he's going great.
That really is the difference maker for Jake.
Long one foul off the bat of C.J. Cron. He jumped on that one. It's the second breaking ball that he's thrown that's been hit a long way, but well fouled. And distributes a souvenir. High-fiving going on out there. Saving mom and dad, getting a souvenir with that glove. Things going right there. Foul back, out of play.
That's a pretty good night, huh?
Yeah.
You know, you're already excited that you're coming to the game in the first place. You bring your glove just in case.
Yep.
Yeah, you'd rather have it and never need it than obviously. Yeah. And then here it comes.
You're saving
here
the
it
family.
comes, and you make the play.
Yeah.
You save mom. You make the play. You go home with the ball.
You're forever the favorite son. they let you stay another week at the house. Pitch out, nothing doing, 1 and 2. Look at this. Right there. That's a great save and a great catch. You can see they're very grateful. 2 and 2. Two is fouled in and out of the dugout. The Angels taking cover. Almost knocked the halo off right there.
Let's take a look.
Cron homered his first time up, walked the last time, moved to first. Calhoun, the runner there, is back in. Swing and a miss. He strikes him out. Fastball. Back-to-back strikeouts there. 4-3 Los Angeles. A bit on the next Rays charity auction item, pitching lessons with Matt Moore. This one-of-a-kind includes a 1-hour session of pitching lessons, pre-game field passes, personalized jerseys, and a lot more than that. Proceeds benefit the Tampa General Hospital Foundation and the Rays Baseball Foundation. To bid, visit raysbaseball.com/auction. Evan Longoria leading off and takes the pitch for a ball. He's 1 for 2 tonight. That's a strike, 1-1. Ball, 2 strikes. Reminder that Evan Longoria is among the All-Star final vote, the final 5. Voting on MLB.com ends July 8th at 4 o'clock. Evans the first out here in the 5th inning. Gives him 1 for 3 tonight so far. And 6 strikeouts for Lincecum. Logan Morrison hit 1 out in the 3rd. Hit it into the seats in right center field. And strike. Cut and a miss. Fastball that time, and now he's down in the count.
Well, Lincecum starting to mix up his sequencing here. Trying to do anything you can to survive in a ball game like this and nurse this 1-run lead.
Fly ball center field. Robinson is lined up and makes the catch. And 2 up and 2 down. Brandon Guyer will be up here. This will be his first plate appearance since taking over for Steven Souza Jr. Souza was 2 for 2. Single, triple, a run batted in, and a run scored. 1-0 the count. Souza out of the game. 2-0. Lincecum over 100 pitches and hits Guyer. So Brandon Guyer hit by a pitch. He'll head for first. So Brandon Guyer hit by a pitch again. 52nd for his career. Got him on the back leg. And that's a club record for the Rays. 52 times to be hit by a pitch in his career. 17th to lead the American League in that department. Dickerson hits one back toward the left field corner. That's a fair ball and will bound out of play. So that means Guyer must stop at third. Dickerson sliced that one toward the line, and Nava could not get there.
Nava had a long way to run from where he was set up playing Corey Dickerson. And unfortunate here that this ball bounces into the stands because Guyer was going to score. He's running with 2 outs. And boy, if that could have clipped the wall and stayed in, Rays would have had a run. Not so when it gets over the low wall.
Well, 2 men in scoring position now for Nick Franklin. And he comes through with a base hit into right. Geyer scores. Dickerson heads to the plate. Throw not in time. Rays take the lead on Franklin's base hit. Driving in two. It's 5-4. A 3-hit night for Nick Franklin. All of this with 2 outs. And it started with Geyer being hit by a pitch.
A changeup that went awry to Geyer, and a changeup that hung here. Nick Franklin already with a hit off of that pitch earlier in the game. Gets this one up in the zone, gets it into right field, and gives the Rays the lead.
So now 5-4, and that's going to be it for Lincecum. He departs here in the 5th inning, working 4 2/3. Back with the new pitcher in a moment. Fox Sports Sun brought to you by Dodge. Visit your local Dodge dealer today. By Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And by your Southern Chevy dealers. Deolis Guerra, the new pitcher, right-hander out of Venezuela, on to face Oswaldo Arcia. First pitch is a strike off speed. Guerra 1-0 this year, making his 16th appearance. Hasn't walked anybody in 23 innings.
How about that? Go along with 18 strikeouts. Nasty off-speed pitch right there. A little changeup by Guerra. How about the Rays, too? And this is something that they've been pretty good at all season long. Scoring runs with 2 outs. And they do it again here in this inning. Seemingly the inning's going to be over. Nobody's on. Hit by pitch, double, single later, and you have a lead. They just don't give up on these innings.
Same thing that they did in the 3rd of this inning. Or 3rd of this game, 3rd inning. Little popper toward the line and right. Foul ball, and Giovatello from second out there makes the catch. Rays put up 2 and grab the lead, 5-4. Lead this game 5-4. C.J. Cron opened the second inning with a home run to tie it at 1. The Angels went on to put up 4. Simmons, Robinson, and Escobar all driving in runs. Rays with 2 outs got a home run in the third from Logan Morrison. Triple by Susan, Dickerson's base hit. And then in the 5th inning, the Rays grabbed 2 more with a 2-out rally capped on the base hit by Nick Franklin, scoring Brandon Geyer and Dickerson. So it's 5-4 as we go to the 6th. Jay Odorizzi. First pitch to Daniel Nava is upstairs, a fastball. 76 pitches through 5 for Odorizzi. Franklin with 2 more runs batted in tonight. He has 11 now for the Rays. Three hits. Big RBIs there in the 5th. Nava fouls it. Nava part of their 4-run second inning after the home run by Cron. When he got down on the count 0-2 and against the shift, hit the ball right through the left side of the infield. Count still 1-2. Giovitella is next, and then Andrelton Simmons. Out of play, still a ball, 2 strikes. Rizzi working here in the 6th inning. And just over 80 pitches. So that's working out very well for him. Misses just off the plate.
Daniel Nava may have not been too concerned if that pitch hit him. Almost leaned into that pitch. Certainly didn't give any ground.
Well, that front elbow is protected.
Yeah. That's like that old style knee pad that you used to have.
Yeah, the NBA used to have a lot of those, and now
Yeah.
they're recycling them. Hitters are using them for their elbows.
They would leave those 2, like burn marks in the back of your hamstring, the top of your calf.
Yeah.
And it protects your knee and it tear up the back of your leg.
A little bit in, up maybe. Curveball there. It wouldn't even hurt. 3-2. And he walks him. Missed with a fastball. Second walk given up, and it opens the 6th.
Second baseman,
So he walks Nava. Here's Giovitella. Jeffrey Marte, the pinch-a-penny pinch runner.
Jeffrey Marte, pinch running for now.
So Marte, who was hit in the knee in the game yesterday and was replaced by Nava, replaces Nava tonight as a pinch runner. Training staff, quick turnaround on that knee. Shot well tagged by Giovitella. It's going to be over the head and up over that yellow line for 2 bases. And the Rays get a break right there. That ball was bouncing all over the place, but it bounced over the yellow line, and it's going to be a double, which prevents the run from scoring.
Boy, you're absolutely right about that. A hanger, and Giavotella gets into it in a big way. Left center field. No chance for the Rays outfield to get to it, but watch the bounce up and over right there. And then off that fence, rolled actually along the top of the wall. And that keeps the Angels from scoring a run, and Giavotella maybe getting to third base.
Now second and third, nobody out. Andrews and Simmons, who drove in a run with a base hit in their 4-run second up here. Blocked by Conger. Conger's been busy back there. He's blocked a number of pitches. Right side, Morrison cannot catch up. It's in the front row.
Lost a helmet.
Tough to put that one back on. And it's 1-1. A souvenir in the front row. Baseball. Strike on the outside edge. 2. Now there's Sturdivant up to the bullpen. That's a fair ball down beyond the bullpen. Garcia makes the pickup. The throw towards second, 2-run score, and the Angels come right back, taking a 6-5 lead. Second and third runs batted into the night for Simmons.
Boy, how in the world did he keep that ball fair? That ball, Jake Odorizzi's going to go away with this fastball. It's up and away. That allows him to reach it, and he just slaps that ball right down the first base line. Absolutely not a play to be made. You can see where Logan Morrison was stationed. Just a good job at 2-strike hitting there by Simmons on a ball that was up.
It's Carlos Perez. Ducks that pitch. And the bunt. 1-0. Rays scored 2 in the bottom of the 5th to grab the lead. Angels have 2 in the 6th, and they have taken the lead. Third time we've had a lead change in this game. Here's the bunt, third base side. Runner easily advances. Out at first, Perez. Simmons in at third with 1 out. Forsythe over to take the throw at first on the sacrifice.
Seen a lot more of this recently from different teams too. Bunt runners over, especially get them over there to bottom of the lineup, get a runner to third base with less than 2.
Forces the infield up.
Sure does.
Robinson, and he puts down a bunt. The throw to the plate, safe. The Angels squeeze the run home. Simmons scores the 3rd run of the inning to give the Angels a 2-run lead. Robinson putting down the bunt, and Odorizzi's throw could not get there in time.
Well, and they had a chance too. They had a chance. You see, this is more of a safety type squeeze, and Jake Odorizzi gets to it quick, and the pitch to Conger was just a little bit wide, and you see, watch Hank have to reach back, and now he's got to come a long way for the tag, and Simmons gets the foot in ahead of the tag. Boy, just that little bit. If Jake, and that's a tough, it's like an option pitch, not easy to control. Right here, you kind of push it, but it's a little bit wide. That forces a long swinging tag by Conger, and he doesn't get it there in time.
A move to first. Robinson back in. Well, the Angels, a little small ball on the bunt by Perez to get Simmons over to third. And Robinson putting down the bunt to give them another run. A 2-run ball game now. That's a strike. A 1-1 count. Escobar singled home a run in their 4-run second inning, and they built a 3-run inning in the 6th. One and two. And again a move to first. 1 on, 1 out, 3 runs home. Pitch coming in on Escobar, fighting it off, and he fouls it. That ball well off the plate.
Escobar hammers that right off his leg, takes a walk around.
Top of the 6th. Base hit into right. Robinson turns and holds at second. Second hit for Escobar. The Angels continue to threaten after putting 3 runs up already. And that's going to be it for Jake Odorizzi. Kevin Cash out to make the change. Ball on Fox Sports Sun, brought to you by Dodge. Visit Dodge.com today. By Lazy Boys RV, your RV authority. And by your Gulf Coast Honda dealers. From the Trop, 7-5, the Angels have taken the lead in the 6th inning. Jake Odorizzi departs after 5 1/3, giving way to Tyler Sturdivant. 9 hits off Odorizzi. So far, 7 runs, responsible for 2 men on as he leaves. He started this inning with a lead and a chance maybe to pick up a win, and now he leaves trailing. Cole Calhoun, the hitter, to face Sturdivant. It's a strike.
Well, for the Angels, it's been 2 big innings. You know, they had that 4-run second. It was pretty quiet. They were quiet after that, and Jake Odorizzi had really settled in and allowed his offense to come back and take the lead. And Angels come right back and answer. Leadoff walk didn't help, and then Giavotella with a big double. They haven't stopped.
1-1 to count. He had a nice run after that RBI single in the 2nd until this inning. In between, he gave up only a walk and a single, but he walked Nava to start this, and things started to cave in on him. Fly ball lifted toward right center. Arce is making the call. He's got it, a tag at second. Robinson will go to third easily. 2 outs, 1st and 3rd now.
Number 5, Albert Pujols.
Albert Pujols will hit. He is 0 for 3. Popped out, flied out, and struck out. Too low, 1-0. This is the 2nd stint with the Rays for Sturdivant. 1-1. Recalled yesterday. Originally got the call at the end of May and stayed a little over a month. A miss right there.
That fastball right by Albert Pujols. And Kevin Cash and Jim Hickey and really the Rays management looking for some guys that are going to click out in that bullpen. Get things settled down. It's not been a good run for them. Tyler Sturdivant getting another chance here.
Fly ball right field. Arce is there to make the catch. He gets the final 2 outs, holding the Angels to 3, 7-5 Los Angeles. Got to the bottom of the 6th inning. Quick and Loan's rocket arms. Well, Tim Lincecum failed to go 5, and Odorizzi just over 5. 5 1/3, 9 hits, 7 runs. Lincecum 10 hits and 5 runs in his outing. Not what either starter was looking for tonight. Hank Conger leads off, and he takes the pitch away. 1 ball, no strikes.
Well, battle of the bullpens. Rays have some opportunities here, down by 2 runs. Have already come back from a 3-run deficit early on.
To strike Jeffrey Marte in the game in left after running for Nava. Check swing, and it'll be played unassisted. Guerra takes care of it. Ball rolling up that first baseline, finally gloved it and made the play.
Yeah, a little close there at the end, but Guerra makes sure that he takes that himself, and that's actually the right play if you can get to it quick, because you just cut out the transfer. But right there, you let that thing roll, and Conger coming up the backside.
Well, the catcher made it close.
Yeah, this has not been a crisply played game by any stretch.
Ground ball shortstop by Logan Forsythe. Wrong guy there. Simmons throws a strike to first. 2 outs. Guerra with pretty good numbers, as we mentioned when he came in. He had spent some time with the Pirates and did not have quite as good a numbers, but they've been pretty good for the Angels this year so far.
Well, and it certainly helps when you're not walking anybody. You're forcing the opposition to have to put the inning together. You're not helping them out.
Want to know the count on Brad Miller. Brad 0 for 3, a strikeout and a couple of ground outs. On the heels of 2 hits, including a home run in yesterday's game. Ground ball, backhanded Giovitella. Second baseman makes a nice little play. 3 ground ball outs. We go to the 7th, 7-5 Angels. The Tonight's Geico great moment. This day in 2003, the Rays beat the White Sox 3-2 at Tropicana Field. They won 3 straight games for the first time all year. And the next morning, Rays manager Lou Piniella with a brand new look, dyeing his hair blonde as promised. And what a job by Wilbur Bonilla on Sweet Lou's hair right there. 2003. One of those years when it was just too hard to win a game. Very difficult. And Lou donned a new look.
Kind of liked it.
That was good. The ground ball to first. Morrison makes the play. C.J. Cron out. Cron, who had homered and walked, struck out the last time, grounds out this time. Now Marte, who entered as a pinch runner at first base in the 6th inning, will bat here in the 7th. Jeffrey Marte. Joe Smith up in the bullpen now for the Angels. Just missed on that first pitch to Marte. That's in there at the knees. 1-1. Smith down there, he was just off the disabled list Saturday. He missed a month with a left hamstring strain. Went by Marte. Big swing, and that one hit 92. Two balls, 2 strikes. Marte out of the Dominican Republic. It's Johnny Giovatello, the second baseman, on deck. He's had a good night. He's been good in the field on a couple of hits. Had a hit yesterday.
He's been playing well for the Angels, swinging the bat well. And we saw that early on. That first at bat, shooting into right field, where in that big 2nd inning by the Angels, seemingly every guy that got a hit that inning was going the opposite way on pitches where Jake was staying away from him. So they were more than content to take the hits the other way. Then he gets a hanger in the middle of the plate. He drives it into the gap in left center. So what a guy that's locked in right now.
Marte skies this one toward the line in left. Miller out, Franklin in, and Franklin is there. That had a lot of hang time, and Franklin caught up to it. Here's what's coming up tomorrow on Rays Live, the pregame show presented by your Gulf Coast Honda dealers. Drew Smiley will start. We'll hear from him. The rest is we'll break down the Angels' premier shortstop, Andrelton Simmons. Now in the on-deck circle, hitting behind Giovatello in the lineup. Giovatello singled and scored in the 2nd. He doubled and scored in the 6th. He's been right in the middle of both of their big innings. A 4-run 2nd and a 3-run 6th inning. Look out up the middle, 1 hop, broken bat. Forsythe makes the pickup. 1-2-3. In the top of the 7th inning stretch, 7-5 LA. Two-run ball game. Couple of big innings for the Angels. 4 in the second, 3 in the sixth. Rays had jumped to a 1-0 lead. Got to within 1 with 2 in the third and actually grabbed the lead in the 5th inning. We've had 3 lead changes in this game. And the Rays come in to hit in the bottom of the 7th. Down by 2. Middle of the order coming up. And they will be facing right-hander Joe Smith, just recently off the disabled list.
Your attention, please. Now pitching for Los Angeles, right-hander number 38.
Well, Joe is on for the 28th time. He's worked 27 in the 3rd innings. We'll give you that extreme sidewinder arm slot.
Evan Longoria. Chopper to 3rd, right at the bag. Escobar's throw on the money at first. 1 pitch and 1 out in the home half of the 7th inning. Time to again seek out Todd Callis. Todd?
All right, Dwayne, before the game, a special presentation because the Temple Terrace Youth Baseball League had a fire on May 30th and lost a lot of equipment. So today, before the game, courtesy of the Rays Baseball Foundation, the Rays presented a check for $2,500 to Stephon Knight, Israel Ruiz, and the Temple Terrace Youth Baseball League to replace the equipment lost in that fire at the end of May, guys.
There's Logan Morrison. Gets the pitch down. Ball, no strikes.
What'd you think about that giant check?
I love those giant checks.
Aren't they the best?
Yeah, they're really cool. Tough to get in your pocket, though.
Yeah, not going to be able to get that in your wallet, but boy, does that look cool.
2-1. Two now. On deck is Brandon Geyer. Cut right there by Morrison. Smith not overpowering, but he certainly gives you a different look.
Yeah, that arm angle, the way that he sweeps the breaking ball, of course, he's going to get action on that fastball just because of the release point.
Popped up. And Perez will run out of room. Contact with the netting. Two now on Logan Morrison. He hits another one deep into right center field. Robinson and Calhoun converging, and this time Robinson makes the catch. Right in front of the wall, a long fly ball by Morrison. Those two, Calhoun and Robinson, had a little trouble earlier tonight, but this time it was Robinson grabbing it.
Now let's take a look at the routes. Both of them. You got to assume that Robinson right there yelling. Calhoun just peeled off right into the wall. Just take a right turn and face plant into that wall. Get out of the way of Robinson.
Brandon Geyer outside. There's Alex Colomé, the Rays All-Star selection. Colomé just off the DL today. Ground ball, base hit for Geyer. 2-out single. Well, the Rays have done some scoring with 2 outs tonight. base hit, and get Dickerson to the plate to face the right-hander.
It's been something that this team has been come to be known for. I mean, really, if you follow them, obviously the home runs leading the way, but 2-out runs. They do that as well as anybody. And they've done it here tonight. 4 of the 5 runs they've scored have come with 2 outs.
Dickerson 2 for 3. Singled in the 3rd, doubled and scored in the 5th. Strike the count on Dickerson. Drove in a run in the 3rd, scored a run in the 5th. Behind in the count 0-2. Ball, 2 strikes. Bottom of the 7th from the Trop tonight. And the Rays trail by a couple. Foul back. 1-2. The move to first, Geyer back in. Lincecum worked 4 2/3. Guerra worked an inning and a 1/3. He's the pitcher of record for the Angels. Rizzi still the pitcher of record for the Rays. 2-2. Balls, 2 strikes. Dickerson has worked it all the way out to 3-2. Geyer a head start at first. And Nick Franklin on deck. Three-2 foul behind Charlie Montoyo down there. So we'll do it again on 3-2. Joe Smith to Corey Dickerson. Up the middle, base hit in the center. Geyer heads to third. First and third with 2 outs. The Rays with a scoring threat again. Lowe's home field advantage. That's been Nick Franklin tonight. Look at his homestand numbers. 12 runs batted in. 9 of 24. The Angels want to talk it over on the mound before they pitch to the red-hot Nick Franklin.
I mean, really, who else would you want at the plate right now?
This is the guy.
Yeah. And once again, with 2 outs, the Rays don't go away. Middle of the field, base hit Geyer. A good at-bat by Dickerson after falling behind. He gets a base hit up the middle, and you get the red-hot Franklin to the plate.
Number 2, Nick Franklin.
Jim Bedrosian starts to throw in the bullpen. Move over to first. Dickerson alertly right back in. And again, Dickerson back in there. He's trying to get to Joe Smith with 2 outs. Big cut and a miss, and Franklin trying to go downtown with that one.
Wow. Not content with, just a bait. He's trying to give the Rays the lead.
Yes.
Why not?
Serious. 1 strike to count. 1-1. Guyer third, Dickerson first, Franklin in the batter's box. And that's a strike. He's down in the count now, 1-2.
I'll tell you what, that slider there by Joe Smith made a quick left-hand turn. Boy, did he spin this.
Franklin out on strikes on the pitch away. Got him to chase off the plate. Rays lead 2. We're through 7. They're down by 2, 7-5. You can now stream them live on your mobile device with the all-new Fox Sports Go app. Download the app and take Fox Sports Sun and Rays baseball with you wherever you go. Rays All-Star Alex Colomé on the mound now, just off the disabled list. So he'll be making his 30th appearance of the year off the DL and getting some work tonight with the Rays down by 2, trying to keep it that way.
Well, the saves and save opportunities, perfect. Hasn't given up a run in any of those situations. It's, of course, not a save opportunity, but important that Colomé keeps this deficit at 2.
Andrelton Simmons leads off the 8th. Ground ball, shortstop. Miller up and out with the throw. 1 pitch and 1 out. Ground ball. Good start for Colomé. That'll be the catcher, Carlos Perez, coming up. Ground ball, shortstop. Miller right there for this one. The height of efficiency. 2 pitches and 2 ground ball outs to short. So the number 9 hitter, Shane Robinson, coming up now. He has a couple of runs batted in tonight. Bunted 1 home on a fielder's choice in the 6th. Got 1 home on a ground ball to second in their 4-run 2nd inning. He takes a strike. Jake Odorizzi for 5 1/3. Charged with all 7 runs, all 9 hits. Tyler Sturdivant, an inning and 2/3, faced 5 men. That was it. A 1-1 count on Robinson.
No, yeah, it's a lot. Yeah, so we have to clean all the shoes. After we clean all the shoes, bring it back to the locker. And I have to look at every locker. And then,
1 and 2. Into left. Franklin goes back and leaps. It's over his head. Took him a beat to get a read on that one. And into second goes Robinson. That'll be a double for Shane Robinson.
Yeah, those line drives that are right at you can sometimes be the toughest one to get that read on. And when they hit the ball as hard as Shane Robinson did right there, any delay is going to be costly. He's able to get to that fastball in quick with the hands. You see how quickly that ball gets out there and just over Nick Franklin. That slight hesitation. You can hardly blame him on a shot like that. Those are tough reads.
So a man at second for Yunel Escobar. He has 2 hits and a run batted in tonight. But in. 1-0. Escobar drove in the 4th run of the inning in the 2nd. Outside, 2-0. That's a strike. Escobar taking. Kenny Romero up in the Rays bullpen. And a strike call. 2-2.
Been able to sneak 2 of those right by Yanel Escobar, normally a very aggressive hitter. We've seen aggressive swings in this series. Colomé on the verge of putting him away.
And he got him to chase after taking those other pitches. We're headed into the bottom of the 8th. The Rays are down by 2. The 8th, Rays down by 2. Don't miss tomorrow's Wednesday night showdown presented by Mazda. Rays again take on the Angels. Game 3 of the 4-game series. Our coverage begins at 6:30 on Fox Sports Sun. Cam Bedrosian, son of former major leaguer Steve Bedrosian, comes on for the Angels. Their 4th pitcher.
Yeah, and it's been a nice season for Cam. 34th appearance, ERA just 1.24, more than a strikeout an inning.
Oswaldo Arcia leading off. Takes ball 1. Arcia 0 for 2 tonight. A couple of strikeouts. Two and one. Fastball in the mid-90s from the 24-year-old right-hander. There's Hank Conger on deck. Hopper, short left. Marte coming in is there. One away in the 8th. Conger comes to the plate now. Reached out a fielder's choice in the 4th. Struck out, grounded out, so he's 0 for 3 tonight. Strike at the knees. Line drive and a base hit over Escobar's head into left. The Rays get a base runner.
I saw something pretty interesting there before that pitch was thrown. Cam Bedrosian shook off his catcher twice. He only throws 2 pitches.
He's going to look in, shake, shake. Okay.
Yeah, on the 3rd one, but you only throw 2.
He changed his mind.
That's trying to trick the hitter. In fact, the first shake was, actually Perez telling him to shake. They will give you a sign to shake your head to try to play with the mind of a hitter.
Had no effect on Conger. Got a base hit.
Not at all.
Strike the count on Logan Forsythe.
That's what you needed, a base runner. Get the tying run here to the plate, top of the order.
Ground ball hits the mound. Simmons steps on the bag and throws to first for the double play. No runs, a hit, double play, nobody left. So we're going to head into the 9th inning. The Angels lead 7-5.
Angels leading the Rays 7-5. Coming up in our Rays Live postgame show presented by Checkers, we will hear from the manager Kevin Cash as to why Steven Souza Jr. left the game after 3 innings in center field today. Also, other interviews in the Rays clubhouse. We'll recap this game and hopefully be talking about a Rays comeback in the bottom half of the 9th inning, guys.
Got to hold him in the top of the 9th. Andy Romero on to face Cole Calhoun in a 7-5 ball game. Calhoun, Pujols, and Crone against Romero. The pitch is foul, strike 1. 0-2. Houston Street, their closer, up in the bullpen. 0-2 the count on Calhoun. Rizzi worked 5 1/3, Sturdivant an inning and 2/3, Colome an inning. 1-2. One and two here on Calhoun. Headed out of play. That fastball to 97 up and foul back in the other way a little bit. Romero trying to come back from the outing he had Friday against the Tigers when they got him for 4 hits and 3 runs in 2/3 of an inning. It's inside. Hard stuff again at 98 from Romero. It's 2-2. There's Albert Pujols on deck. Angels scored 3 runs in the 6th inning to take a 7-5 lead. They're in the top of the 9th. Calhoun stepping back, he had a base hit in the 5th. All of the runs and 9 of the 10 hits charged to Odorizzi. And now we go to 3-2. The cutter from Manny Romero missed. Full count now. And he walked him. It's been an issue with Romero recently. A lot of pitches and a lot of base runners.
You know, and you can never tell. You know, there are outings where Manny Romero comes in and just dots up, takes it right to the opposition, and is done with them. There are other times he comes in and cannot find the strike zone. You know, the 55-foot sliders, the fastballs that are sprayed all over the place. You just never know. A continual work in progress. Still young, a great arm, trying to refine the command.
Well, here's Albert Pujols. Going for 4 on the night. Came in with a 10-game hitting streak, and Romero misses by a margin on that one. 1-0. That's a strike, 1-1. Rays will have Miller, Longoria, and Morrison due in the bottom of the 9th. Romero trying to hold the deficit right where it is at 7-5. Way wide that time. A big miss. And a save by Conger. That's not easy to do.
No.
If you're Conger, and for the reasons that we mentioned, Dana Evelyn is now starting to loosen in the bullpen.
Yeah, they've seen this before down in the Rays dugout. These misses that get pretty wild, and you're right. You talk about the velocity that Romero's throwing at, and Conger's having to backhand that pitch well off the plate.
Oh, a foul ball, and that got Conger. Ooh. A big cut right there, and Conger shaken by that foul ball. Rays will take a look at their catcher.
Now barely touched the padding and the protection, and right on the outside of that right arm.
Listen to this. It hurt the way it sounded.
No, I mean, it sounded just like the foul tip. You got to be tough to play back there.
Counts 2-2. Holds, fouls that one. Colomé came off the DL, pitched the 8th, got a couple ground balls, gave up the line double, and then struck out Escobar to end it. Romero has followed him to work the 9th. A line drive out of the reach of Miller, left center field. Calhoun advances to second, and Pujols is aboard. First 2 men on here in the 9th for Los Angeles.
It almost looked like Brad Miller. There was a slight hesitation before going for that baseball. I don't know. Maybe you didn't see it. Just a hair before finally committing to the dive.
I know.
And you miss it by that much. I mean, just an inch or two off the edge of that glove.
C.J. Cron, he's had a hot bat, homered his first time up, and he takes a strike. He's 1 for 3. He walked in his next plate appearance following the home run. A shot to center field. Geyer's going to go to the wall, and that one is gone. Home run, it came back, but it's a home run. Hit the top of the wall left and came back. And Cron has hit his 2nd home run of the night, and that will make it 10-5. A 2-home run, 4 RBI night for the Angels' first baseman.
Boy, down and through that fastball, straight away center field. And this is how close. Top of the wall, off the back wall, and back into play.
Pitching change coming in a 5-run game. C.J. Cron hit a home run to open the scoring for the Angels in the 2nd inning, and it just belted a 3-run blast in the 9th. There's that first home run that sent Souza into the wall in center. And another one out to center here in the 9th inning.
Well, he's got big power. We know that. Had a big game there in Boston. A 6-for-6 ball game. And comes in here for the 6th time, a multi-home run game.
Second in 4 days, that multi-home run game Saturday, and now this one. Dana Evelyn in the game on the hill for the Rays, facing Jeffrey Marte. 25th appearance for Evelyn. It's 1-0 the count to Marte.
Part of the two-headed closing monster from last night's ball game. Came in and picked up a strikeout on 3 pitches.
Garcia in right field there for that one. So that's the first out. By the way, Ryan Stanek, the hard-throwing young pitcher in the Rays system who has been converted from a starting pitcher to the bullpen, made his AAA debut. 2 1/3 with no hits and 4 strikeouts, hitting 99 tonight for Durham.
Is there anything
Johnny
that you're...
Giavotella takes a strike.
Is there anything that you're not privy to? I mean, outside of most players' medical records, and then on top of that, the minor league report, the miles per hour, we're in the middle of doing a game, and here you're up to date on all that.
We've got the magic man here. Fly ball to center. Brandon Geyer right there. Giavotella is out number 2.
I'm impressed.
Rick Odioso fired that over here. Got it here at 99.
Can you imagine?
It was quick.
Yeah. Oh.
Andrelton Simmons up here. Houston Street takes a seat in the bullpen now with his 5-run deficit the Rays face against the Angels.
Can remember punching out one time when I was with the Diamondbacks, punching out against Kerry Wood on an elevated 98-mile-an-hour fastball. And all I can tell you is that decision, you almost have to start the swing in the middle of the delivery. I mean, you have no time to react. None.
No, you're absolutely right about that. Street, by the way, is back up in the bullpen. This inning was taking too long for him. So he's back up throwing in this 10-5 ball game. There he is. Two outs. That's a strike. 2-2. So tonight, Odorizzi gave up 7 and Romero touched for 3. It's wide. So a full count. It's the catcher Carlos Perez on deck. Piece of it foul. 12 and 2 for the Angels. They've left 6. The Rays 5-13 and 1 with 8 left. They came in trailing by 2. They trail by 5 right now. Foul ball outside of third. Simmons battling Evelyn. A good night at the plate for Simmons. A couple of hits, including a double, 2 runs scored. He's driven in 3. Popper right side. Morrison hopes to have a play, but it's about 3 or 4 rows back. So this battle between Evelyn and Simmons will continue.
Yeah, and now who takes ownership of the ball? So the guy had reached over with his hat. The ball goes into his hat, but it takes the hat out of his hand into another man's hands. So that guy gives the hat back, but sands baseball. And he goes home with nothing.
Otherwise, it'd have to go to arbitration.
Think about that.
Mutually agreed. 3-2, shot toward left center field. Extra bases coming for Simmons. Back into that corner, deepest part of the park. Simmons motoring all the way to third with a stand-up triple. Well, that ball had some flight out there into left center field.
I mean, this ball had some action. Ball in, and it comes out with all sorts of movement on it. Watch this thing take off. Didn't nearly do it justice from what we saw. Either that or we've just been here too long.
That's a toss-up.
Yeah, that was not impressive.
Carlos Perez, oh, what a stop there. Conger has made all kinds of stops on pitches tonight. He's been battered back there. What a long night it has been for Hank Conger.
Yeah, he's going to sleep probably better than anybody here tonight because he has been getting a workout. And the number of balls that he has blocked and saved guys, you know, runners on third, moving up, scoring, and not to mention the number of times he's been hit with the foul tips tonight. Off the throwing hand, the shoulder, the glove hand.
We're going to find him some skates and a goalie's mask. He's been that good tonight. 1-2. Balls, 2 strikes. Well, Evelyn got the first 2 guys, gave up the triple to Simmons. His first triple of the year, by the way. Simmons down there at third, who's had a single, double, and triple tonight. Just a little bit of that one foul. Perez stays alive at the plate, forcing another pitch from Evelyn. Inflicting a little pain on his own foot. Two. Liner into center. That's going to be in there. A run will score. Geyer holds it to a single, and Perez drives in a run. It's 11-5. Not fun here in the ninth.
No, what started out as a 2-run deficit, and you're thinking that you've got a chance in that bottom of the ninth inning to come back, has gotten smaller and smaller because the Angels continue to hit. It's been, the story tonight has been the big inning by the Angels, and they've had 3 of them, and that's added up to 11 runs.
Robinson takes a strike. He's the 9th man in the order. He's hitting for the 5th time tonight.
Yeah, that's a bad sign.
Yeah, never a good sign there.
Yeah, anybody getting a 5th at bat in a game is a bad sign, let alone the guy bringing up the caboose.
Yep. Driven in a couple runs. Now 1-2. Well, it was Robinson who Evelyn faced in the 9th inning yesterday. The Rays used a combo of Evelyn and Garten to preserve that win. Two and two. The only possible silver lining to this is that the Rays may have tired out Houston Street in the Angels bullpen. And now ball three.
May have hit him.
I think it did. And he's going to head to first. So it pushes Perez up to second.
Third baseman.
That breaking ball getting yanked down and in and catching that back foot right on the instep.
So after the 2 outs, a triple, a single, and a hit batter, and Yunel Escobar becomes the 9th Angel to hit in this inning. And he is up for his 6th plate appearance. Strike one. And Robinson has some pain over there at first. And that's Gary DiSarcina, the first base coach, talking with him. I got time from Ben May. And the trainer's going to come out to take a look at Robinson's foot. Mike Socha, the Angels skipper, out there as well. And with this stoppage in play, Houston Street again comes off the bullpen mound and walks around up the left side. This might be the longest Houston Street has ever had to warm up to get into a game in his entire career. And they're going to take Robinson out of this game. So the Angels are going to need a base runner. This top of the 9th inning has been long already and has just gotten longer. Well, how about that? Mike Trout, who was named to the All-Star team today for the 5th time in his career and was not in this lineup, will pinch run. So for those who came out to see Mike Trout tonight and have stuck around, they're going to get to see him pinch run. Trout running for Robinson. Perez at second, and a strike to count. There's a base hit by Escobar. That will score Perez. Trout's going to go to third, another run home, and it's first and third. Escobar picking up his 2nd run batted into the night.
Not wasting any time. Ball out over the plate. Escobar rips it out into center, left center field. Angels just will not stop.
It's 12-5. They scored 4 in the 2nd, 3 in the 6th inning, and now they have a 5-run 9th. And Cole Calhoun, the 10th man to come to the plate for the Angels, shoots it into center. That's going to fall for a base hit. Trout scores. Escobar stops at second. 4 hits and 3 runs off Evelyn. And it's 13-5 as Trout, pinch running, scores a run. So what was a 2-run game is turning into a rout here in the top of the 9th. And Albert Pujols takes the pitch down. 5 consecutive hitters that is, that were eventually runners, have reached base. 3 of them have scored. Pujols chops it, picked up by Forsythe, throw to first in time. And finally, the top of the 9th is over. 5-run score, 11 men come to the plate. Well, the Angels scored 5 in the 9th, 6 actually, to make it 13-5. And Mike Trout will stay in the game. He's in center field.
And finally, Houston Street gets to pitch.
Yeah, a 32-year-old closer makes his 20th appearance in a 13-5 game. Brad Miller faces him and sends a fly ball deep down the left side. That's going to be foul as it slices out of play. Evan Longoria was due to hit next, and Tim Beckham is on deck. So this one got out of hand and then some in the top of the 9th. 2. Street pitched an inning in Boston day before yesterday, gave up a hit and picked up a strikeout. Pitch hit on Miller's hands and he fouls it back. 13 runs, 16 hits for the Angels tonight.
Yeah, it was the big inning. I mean, they big second inning, added on from there, and then that, of course, that 9th inning seemingly put this thing out of reach. We'll see.
Well, there's a base hit by Miller to start the bottom of the 9th inning. So the hits are falling in the 9th, and there's a leadoff single.
You know, and these are typically the outings where closers struggle. You know, they come in, they're used to having adrenaline, not much of a lead to work with at all, or a tie game if you're at home. And, you know, like I said, just a lot of adrenaline. You come into a game like this, you're up by 8 runs, seemingly a foregone conclusion. And this is when they typically struggle. And right there, a nice leadoff single by Brad Miller.
Well, here's Tim Beckham. Ground ball shortstop. First pitch, Simmons, Giavatella over to Crone. 6-4-3 on the double play.
I'm going to take my positive thinking, wrap it back up, put it in my wallet, and get ready to head home.
Okay. 2 outs in the 9th. You'll unpack it tomorrow for the 3rd game of this 4-game series.
I may just leave it here. Just put it in the little closet back here.
It'll be a quick turnaround.
Yeah.
Good idea. So here's Curt Casale hitting for Morrison. The pitch is a strike. It's a big cut. 0-2. Casale out on strikes in this game is history. No runs, a hit, nobody left in the 9th inning for the Rays. It's a 13-5 final. Guerra will get the win. He's 2-0. Odorizzi the loser, 3-4 before 14,896. Rays and the Angels tomorrow at 6:30 right here on Fox Sports Sun. Brian Anderson, Todd Callis, and the rest of our crew, Dwayne Stats. Hope you've enjoyed the telecast and not the outcome. Rays Live, the postgame presented by Checkers, is next.